Here we go, everybody, with the Kia Knicks Post Game show back in New York, as the Knicks now have won back-to-back games. They beat the Cavs in Cleveland for their first road win of the season from our Delta MSG studios. Great to have you with us. Bill Pito and Alan Hahn here. Wally Zerbiak from his home studio. Wally, how was the view from home tonight?
Oh, it was tremendous. How about Julius Randle, an absolute flamethrower? He was doing everything out there on the floor, including knocking down those three balls. Knicks were on fire from deep, overcoming 24 turnovers. They were throwing the ball all over the land, but come away with a big-time win. Even their record at 2-2, that was impressive. And you can't say enough about Julius Randle. He's off to a really hot start this season. He came in ready to go at the beginning of the year, played really well in training camp, and now he's carried it through to the regular season. Who knows, maybe a little all-star chatter starting, although it's really early. He's been great.
Hey, Wally, can we talk some defense here, too, by the way? Because I know after the win over the Bucks, there was talk, well, the Bucks just had a bad shooting night, right? That's all it was. Well, the Cavs came into this game 43% from three-point ranges. They were 3-0. They were knocking down threes left and right. The Knicks defense, once again. Now, they weren't out contesting everything, but there is something to be said about the effort on defense that can get a team's timing, that get a team out of its rhythm. And you saw the Cavs struggle from downtown, and that was a big part of their game early. And that's what they took control of this game. You got to start crediting the way Tom Thibodeau has this team playing hard and scrappy on defense.
Wally, the Cavs from downtown, only 7 of 32. This was after the Bucks the other night went only 8 of 38 from downtown. And we all know, as Alan just touched on, the defense here in recent years defending the three hasn't been good. Last 2 games has been great.
Not just a coincidence. That's what Tom Thibodeau does. He makes other teams uncomfortable on the defensive end of the floor. He closes out. He contests shots. That's a big statistic for great defensive teams. Make sure you make shooters uncomfortable. You don't allow them to get into a rhythm. When shooters see one ball go through the basket, it can lead to 4 or 5 in a row, not only by an individual, but by a team. That's been a real concerted effort. He has good personnel that is athletic, that can close out. They're playing like a team that is 5 guys on a string on the defensive end of the floor. So they're helping each other, and they're making multiple efforts on the defensive end of the floor. If one guy gets beat, they're doing a good job of having each other's back and then not allowing any easy baskets and easy, uncontested, open looks. Even the threes that Cleveland did make, when Garland made those threes in the second half, those were deep threes. They were contested threes. And that's what Tom Thibodeau will live with. He'll live with tough shots being made on his squad. Can't say enough about the defense, holding the Milwaukee Bucks, who are a great three-point shooting team, to 110 points and not a lot of great three-point shooting. And then tonight, only 85 points for the Cavs, who have been on fire at 3-0. That's impressive.
All right, Alan, let's take a closer look at Randle's night. His first triple-double as a Knick. He was phenomenal again. He had 28 points, 12 rebounds, and 11 assists.
And it was right from the very beginning of the game where he liked his matchup. And you're seeing some wide open looks here, too, because of ball movement. But what you saw was a player who felt like, I can win my matchup. And when the double team started coming, there's a triple team, well, he started dishing. And that's where the game really started to open up. And other players kept cutting and moving. And that's another thing, you see a lot of ball movement. And they're running it through him. Be a point forward, and the passes have been on point. Now, there was a point in this game where it did get a little crazy with some of the passing, and maybe he was overpassing at times, maybe just looking too much for teammates and passing up shots, and that's why his turnover numbers are a bit high. He had 9 turnovers, but 3 of them were offensive fouls. But you can't deny his impact on this game from tip-off. He was the most dominant player on the floor.
Boy, he has had 4 fantastic games in a row. Tom Thibodeau here, with all the injuries, played only 8 players. In fact, each of the 3 reserves played exactly 16 minutes. Noel, Ntilikina, and Knox. And not only did Randle do all of that, well, he played 44 minutes tonight.
That's what I'm talking about. You have to play to win the games. And Alan, you've been begging for a point guard. Well, you got a point forward. Sorry, bud. You didn't get a point guard. You got a point forward in Julius Randle, because Tom Thibodeau doesn't trust anyone else other than Peyton to handle the ball and Julius Randle to handle the ball. And then at the end of the game, we saw R.J. Barrett ran the point for a few possessions. Tom Thibodeau plays the game to win. I love the way he coaches. He's going to play the guys that are performing. He's going to play the guys that he trusts. He's going to shorten his bench, and he's going to have a short leash with those guys on the bench. If they don't perform, they're not going to stay in the game. In the first half, the starting unit built a nice lead in that first quarter. The lead went away when the bench came in. Then the starters got the lead back to end the second quarter. He was not going to allow that to happen in the second half. He was going to play the guys that are going to give him a chance to win. That's why Julius Randle logged all those minutes. He can rest tomorrow in practice.
You like that bench analysis of the minutes, huh?
No, you with the numbers, but Wally with the point forward thing. Let's also understand there are some injured players here. Emmanuel quickly, when he comes back, there's already a lot of trust in the rookie. When he returns, the ball will also be in his hand as well. But because of the injuries, you're forced to now change a little bit of the way you play, and they're entrusting a lot of the offense into Julius Randle. And because of his conditioning and because of the fact that in certain games he's got the matchup, and he physically had the matchup today against the Cavs, they were able to exploit it. And I like that he's passing. I like that he's looking for teammates. It was a part of the game where it got a little too much. And that's fine. I'd rather you try too hard to pass than not at all. They'll fix that. They'll watch film. But it's an interesting, to me, dimension of this team that will change when the injured players return. That's what will give them a lot more versatility. They don't always have to go to Randle, but he's proving he can handle it when you do.
All right, and also let's mention Elfrid Payton struggled early, of course, was great against the Bucks. 10 points in the fourth quarter, Allen. And it seemed like a lot of times when Randle had to give up the ball, it was Payton who was hitting the key jumpers.